Okay, so we're going to try this again. I messed up the first time. So this is Unit 1, Lesson 3. So 1, 3. Let me find me a pen up here real quick. And let's do red. So it's Unit 1 and 3. And I'm going to try again with this tablet. We'll just see how it goes. So absolute value, we talked about the distance. That a number is from 0 on a number line. And so we talked about the fact that a positive 3 and a negative 3 were each 3 places away. So they both equal 3 from 0. So again, just really quickly, some of these, we would have a positive 13 here. Of course, if it's positive, it's still going to remain positive. Here you would do the absolute values first and then add them together. Here again, 9 plus positive 8, again, be 17, and so on and so forth. So 12 plus 15, and that's going to be 27. And then you look at this one, and this one's different. You have your 21 minus 17 inside the absolute value bars. So you actually do the subtraction, leave it inside the absolute value bars, and then take the absolute value of 4, which is 4. Here you would end up with a positive 11 minus a positive 5, so you would get a 6 there, and 4 minus 4 would be 0. And again, here's this situation, 15 minus 23 has to be done first, so you'd have the absolute value here of negative 8, but then once you take the absolute value of negative 8, you would have a positive 8. So we're going to scoot down. We're going to leave that part of the assignment now, and we're going to move to second section. And again, you can slow down the video, whatever you need to do to I actually had to pause the video so we could get this together. Now, an order of operations, many of you have heard this called PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but this is simply, these are steps that we use to simplify an expression using a specific order. Simplify using a specific order. Oh, I see, specific order. Sorry about that. So first off, you do have grouping symbols. Now, most people do recognize that as the P, but this is a grouping, not just parentheses. So any grouping symbols can be, you can have parentheses, of course. You could also have braces, those little curly ones. You could have brackets, those squared off ones. You could even have absolute value bars that represent a group. And you can also have fraction bars, and we'll see some examples of that here in just a few minutes. All right, so now the second step is your exponents, and most people do get that one. Please excuse, or PIM. And this is your exponents, and you're going to always do exponents after you take care of any groups. And if there's exponents within a group, you're going to do those exponents within that group. Now, here's where it gets tricky, because PEMDAS has an M and a D here. Well, that may seem like it's going to be the third and fourth step, but it's actually just the fourth step. So multiplying and dividing come in the same step. But the way you determine which one you do first is you move from left to right. So whatever happens first as you read, just like you read multiplying and dividing, left to right, that's how you would do multiplying and division. The same is true for addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction, you're going to do those in the same step, but you're also going to do those from left to right. All right, so that is the steps that we're going to use. All right, so let's look at a couple of these examples. And I'm not going to do all of these because I am providing you with the teacher notes so you can practice and then go back and look at them on your own. Make sure you did them correctly. This is a little hard to see on my screen, but it should be better on your paper. If you notice, this problem does not have any kind of parentheses or grouping symbol. So we're just going to start by writing down the 17. Now, the first thing we do see is the exponent. 2 to the 5th is 32. We'll go ahead and do that. We're going to then have a division and a 6. Well, we have a division, and division comes before addition or subtraction. So we're going to leave that. We're going to look right here. Oh, sorry, I messed up. That's a 4, and then plus a 6. But again, we're still going to do this division of 4. That's going to give us 8 here, and then we'll add on the 6. And then finally, you do adding and subtracting from left to right. So here, I would add the 17 plus negative or minus 8 and get 9, and then I would add on 6 to give me 15 for this answer. So let's take a look at 16. 16 has a fraction bar, and we talked a little bit about this when we were talking about groupings. Groupings are sometimes in numerators and denominators, and this is going to be really important that we make sure we get everything done in the numerator and everything done in the denominator before we try to actually go ahead and divide. So looking here, we're going to take these parentheses first, and the parentheses have 7 minus 2 to the 2nd power. We're actually going to have to leave that as 7 minus 4. And then we're going to go ahead and keep the parenthesis and add on the 17. And so I'm still going to have to finish up this numerator. So let's keep going with it. Now 7 minus 4 would be done first because it's still in the group. That's 3. And then I have 17. And then I can actually add there. So I'm going to have a 20 in my numerator. So that gives me my entire top part of that fraction. Now the bottom part of the fraction has negative 14 plus 2 times 5. Well, of course, 2 times 5 is going to come first. So that's going to leave me with negative 14 plus 10, which is only going to leave me with a negative 4. But I can divide 20 by negative 4, and I do get a negative 5 for that answer. So I'm going to come back and look at a few more examples with you, but I want you to try 13 and 15 and go look at the teacher notes to make sure you got those correct. All right, I turned over to number 17. We'll look at it first. Now notice we have a group. We have a group here that's an 8 minus a 3, or 8 minus 5, which is going to give me 3. Now also notice that that group is raised to the 3rd power. I can continue on because now I have absolute value bars, which also represent a group. So I'm going to have to do what's inside this group of absolute value bars first. So 5 squared is, of course, 25 minus, and then that's 4 to the 3rd, and it's a little hard to see for you, so it's a 64. And I'm going to take the absolute value of that. Now, before I do anything else, I'm just going to bring that divided by 13, divided by 3 down. But here, I still need to get this group taken care of. Now, I can go ahead and do this exponent, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to bring it down. I'm going to take the absolute value here of a negative 39, because that's what 25 minus 64 is. And as I look here, I still have to take this absolute value. So I'm doing one step at a time and actually getting rid of those grouping symbols before I do anything else. Now at that point, I can go ahead and do my exponent. So 3 to the 3rd power is 27. That's 3 times 3 times 3. And so 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. And then I'm subtracting 39 from that, and then I'm going to divide by 3. Well, I know that I can't subtract before I divide because division is the third step. And so I'm going to go ahead and divide here first. This would be my next step. 27 stays, and then 39 divided by 3 is 13. And now I can subtract 27 minus 13 to get 14, and that would be my final answer. Let's take a look at number 18, and I'm probably not going to have time to do too many more of these. So let's take a look at 18. Number 18 also has absolute value bars, so we need to go inside the absolute value bars first. Well, -7, and it says that the negative of 7 is squared. Now, this is really tricky here because most of the time when we square a negative number, it actually is in parentheses like this. And that would be a case where we'd actually go ahead and multiply -7 times -7. This problem is a little bit strange because it actually says -7 squared. So you're taking 7 squared and making it negative. We're going to add to that 9 because 3 squared is 9, and we're also going to have that multiplication of 4 there. Now, I can't add before I multiply. So inside those absolute value bars, I'm still inside the absolute value bars. And I have that -49 is going to be added to 36. Well, that's going to give me -13. And then the absolute value of -13 is positive 13. However, this stuff over here that I haven't touched yet, it just keeps coming down every time. So all these things that you haven't done, they're still there. And that's why it's so important to bring them down each time so that you don't forget to go back and do that. So now I'm at 13 plus 18 divided by 2 minus 5. So I know that the 13 plus 18 can't happen yet because the division is going to happen before. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll subtract off the 5. And here I can add, sorry, that's not a subtraction. That is a multiplication. I apologize. But we still did that correctly because the division came first, left to right. So we still did that in the correct order. This is multiplying now. So I will have to multiply this to get 45, and then I can add the 13 and 45 to get 58. Okay, let's take a look at 19. This one has a fraction bar, and it also has 2 groups in the denominator. We can go ahead and simplify the numerator as much as we can here. That is going to give us the 5 squared, which is going to be 25. Again, so 25 minus, and that's 3 to the 4th power, which is actually going to be 81. Now that's what we have in the numerator so far. In this denominator, we have this group. Well, in the group, we have 2 to the 3rd power. Well, 2 to the 3rd power is going to be 8, and we're going to have a minus 5 there. So that's in parentheses, so we know we're going to have a 3 there. Now, this is being multiplied to this group over here, which has inside of it 36, 6 squared, divided by 9. Well, that gives me 4. So now I have a 3 times 4 in the denominator, which gave me 12. And I'm still going to have to do this subtraction at the top. So 25 minus 81 is going to be -56 over positive 12. Now 12 doesn't go into 56. So we would need to simplify this fraction. So we're going to take out 4, divide out a 4 from each part. And that's going to leave us with a -14 over 3 for our answer. Now, I also want to look one more, but I don't think I'm going to have time. So go back, look at the teacher notes, finish the rest of these examples, and then do your practice. I hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks, guys.